EA is often rightly touted as a terrible company. On the list of stupid things they've done is taking down the servers for the Lord of the Rings Conquest. Lord of the Rings Conquest is a third-person class-based action game that was made by Pandemic. Yes, the same people that made the original Star Wars Battlefront games made this as well, and it shows. If you've played those games, then you'll already have an understanding of this one. But for those of you who haven't played those games, or this one, let's get into it, shall we? There are 4 classes you can pick from to play as in this game, and each have their strengths and weaknesses.
Oh yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Warrior is first on our list, and they're the baseline of what we'll be comparing the other classes to. This doesn't mean that the Warrior's a bad class. Oh, no. If you think that, then you'll be changing your tune once you end up on a sword blade or have a throwing axe embedded in your nervous system.
He was twitching, cause he's got my axe embedded in his nervous system!
The Warrior is a frontline unit meant to take fights head-on. As such, they're the most durable of the 4 classes, and surprisingly quick to boot. Their main strength is their melee attacks, and they can make short work of any opponent if they can close the distance. Warriors have 3 attack types: light, medium, and heavy. You can light attack up to 3 times in a row, medium attack twice in a row, and heavy attack once. You can even string these 3 attack types in that order to perform a combo that will either kill or severely injure whoever you are attacking. Melee is where warriors thrive, and their attacks can hit multiple opponents. As they both dish out and receive punishment, their energy meter will fill up. You can either use this as you gain it, or wait for the bar to fill up so you have it for longer, but it allows the warrior to ignite their sword and use special attacks. These augment their normal attacks that deal more damage and can even grant them some extra mobility. An angry warrior with a flaming sword rushing towards you can be the last thing you see. What's more, the warrior can even block incoming melee attacks, letting them have more sustainability against other melee opponents. But warriors also have a throwing axe. This deals moderate damage to enemies, but it does knock them down for a moment, giving the warrior time to close the distance. More than that, it can even crit if it hits the enemy's head for massive damage. Warriors tend to do well against mages, but can sometimes struggle against archers. The matchup between Scout and Warrior can sometimes be a bit like Batman against Superman. The Warrior is stronger in a direct fight than the Scout, but a good Scout is crafty and can use their abilities to win. Next on the docket is the Archer. While the Warrior's goal is to get up in the enemy's face, the Archer excels at range. The Archer can release normal arrows at a decently high rate, but these arrows deal absurd damage if you can headshot. Think of Archer like a sniper. Headshots are king. Archers can even zoom in to help with this. But Archer does more than just loose normal arrows. They have special attacks too. The first of these is a spread shot attack, where the Archer unleashes 3 arrows at once that automatically target the closest enemies. Though its damage is only moderate, it's really nice to be able to put the pressure on more than one enemy at a time. This does only work at close range though. The second of the Archer's abilities is a poison arrow. This deals damage over time and slows down opponents, making them easier to headshot, or just leave them vulnerable to your team. This also leaves a poison cloud effect around the affected enemy, negating the stealth ability of scouts. The final special attack the Archer has is the Flaming Arrow. Under most circumstances, this is just a straight damage increase. Everything the normal arrow does, this does more of, often being able to one-shot other classes if the archer can get a headshot. But it also knocks down enemies in a small area of effect, which can be a great way to help out your teammates. But it does have an effect that only comes into play when playing on the evil team. It can set ints on fire, dealing damage to them over time. The archer isn't completely helpless if the enemy closes the distance though. They have a mean kick that can send opponents flying, so be sure to remember it if you're playing as one. It might just save your life. Archers are strong against warriors if they can keep their distance, but can be countered by mages. They also tend to get tunnel vision, leaving them susceptible to scouts.
You're in the sniper sight, the first hit tonight, time to die!
But what if being a melee powerhouse or a sharpshooter aren't your thing? What if they lack a certain mystique? Well then, mage should scratch that particular itch. The mage is the most fragile of the four classes, but it makes up for this with sheer power. The mage's normal attack is a bolt of lightning, which deals moderate damage, but it can be charged up to chain to multiple enemies, hitting them all at once. The mage's first ability is one where they slam their staff down on the ground, dealing significant damage to any nearby enemies. This works great if enemies get too close, or if you can manage to charge in, you can use this in a choke point to deal tons of damage to all enemies in there. This also knocks them down, leaving them vulnerable to subsequent attacks. The mage's second ability lets them put up a bubble shield that stops all incoming projectiles. Arrows, lightning bolts, throwing axes, explosives, all of it is stopped.
No, permission denied. That's an off-topic question. Next. You have been stopped.
While this is a great ability, be aware that this doesn't prevent enemies from simply running through the shield to attack you and others directly. This combines well with archers, letting them loose arrows continuously without being hit by their counterparts on the other team. Mages can also unleash a fireball that creates a ring of flames where it strikes the ground, dealing a ton of damage to any enemy that stands inside it. This is great for area denial, as enemies will either be forced to wait it out, or rush through and take tons of damage. It works well when used in a group fight. It's so satisfying to slam one of these down when one of your warriors is fighting an enemy, and then all of a sudden the enemy is burning to death while being cut apart. The mage can also heal all nearby allies, which is the only consistent source of healing in the game. Sometimes killed characters will drop a health orb, but you can't count on that to happen regularly. Mages do have a melee attack, but it isn't that strong, and ideally you should use your staff slam attack if enemies get close, or rely on warrior teammates. Mages are a cornerstone of their team, and they can make or break a match if used well. Mages do well against archers, but struggle against warriors if they can close the distance, and are prime targets for scout backstabs. The last, but certainly not least class, is the Scout. The Scout is a melee unit like the Warrior, but instead of being a frontline unit, the Scout does a sneaky. The Scout's main ability is that they can become ghost-like and very difficult to see. They aren't truly invisible, as you can notice their distortion effect if you're paying attention, but in the heat of combat you might not see it. While in stealth, the Scout can backstab almost any unit, killing them in one hit.
And now he's here to us!
So as the Scout, you'll want to use the chaos of battle to your advantage. While the Scout does have melee potential and can use their combos against mages and archers, a competent warrior is likely to win a direct confrontation. The Scout is meant to get specific picks. Backstabbing mages to deny the enemy team healing and crowd control, or archers to deny them range damage, works incredibly well. The Scout also comes equipped with an explosive, which they can throw to deal damage and knock down enemies caught in the blast. It's great for finishing off weakened opponents or buying time to make your escape if you get caught out. The Scout is my personal favorite class. They are strong against mages and archers if they can get in undetected, but can have a hard time against warriors, who have wide attacks that can knock them out of stealth.
So hard to see your side.
But just like in Star Wars Battlefront 2, there are heroes in this game as well.
I need a hero!
These characters function like enhanced versions of the normal classes, but deal more damage, have more health, and generally have a few offshoots of the standard abilities that make them stand out. And they actually have a health bar, unlike the dumb time bar that the heroes did in the Star Wars games. There's even a hero team deathmatch mode on several maps, where it pits the good hero characters against the evil ones. You can even play as the Balrog, Mr. Durin's Bane himself. But you can also play as Ents and Trolls. These are powerful melee units, but a little clunky and can be climbed up from behind by the other classes to take massive damage from doing this. They're strong, but not indestructible. You can even ride wargs and horses, and even use the Mumakil on the Pelennor Fields map. There really are a ton of different units that you can use in this game. The units are even differently skinned on different maps. Good features Gondorians most of the time, but will instead use elves in Rivendell and the Rohirrim in Isengard. Evil will typically play as Mordor orcs, but will be Uruk-hai at Helm's Deep, and have a few Easterlings and Haradrim on Pelennor Fields. The attention to detail is spot on. The game features modes like Team Deathmatch and Hero Team Deathmatch, where you simply need to kill the enemy to win, Capture the Ring, which functions like reverse capture the flag, and Conquest, where the two teams will need to capture and hold territories to gain points. There are even 2 campaigns. A good one, where it loosely follows the events of the main plot of the series, but then you unlock the What If Evil campaign, where the Nazgul recover the ring at Mount Doom, and Sauron's conquest ensues. All in all, I'd give this game a 7 in terms of objectivity. It's a little difficult to quantify objectivity without a narrative focus, but the gameplay mechanics are simple but solid, and it doesn't have a host of glitches like loads of games do these days. Subjectively, I would also give this a 7. I have tons of fun playing this game, but sometimes the campaign can cram nonsensical things in, and the voice acting can get a bit grating.
They're pulling back! Stay wary, men! Take cover! Archers in the ruins! Archers! Auric, do you wish death? Stay behind cover!
Unfortunately, EA took the servers down a long time ago, and I have never forgiven them for that. This means that you'll have to acquire the game through alternative means. I've heard that there are private servers set up by regular people like you and I, but I haven't tried them out. But even when you're just playing against bots, this is a great game for anyone who loves the Lord of the Rings or the old Star Wars Battlefront games. Give it a go if you're one of these people. It's easily worth the download. But I would like to thank you for watching. What do you think of this game? Did you play it back in the day? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to see more. Leave a like on this video if you're so inclined, and may you all have a weapon in each hand.